Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thanks for joining me today on Amazing People, Amazing Things. So, we know everybody's amazing, and there are so many amazing things out there, right? So, what is it that you've heard today, or seen, or done that's amazing? Let me know in the comments. All right, so, gosh, I don't know. Dogs pooping in the yard, dogs pooping on the sidewalk, dogs pooping everywhere. I love dogs. The problem is the people who are walking the dogs. You know what? Bring a bag, pick up after the dog, and just be a good person and do it. All right? All right, so let's get into today's topic. Today, my guest is Diane Cherico, and we're going to talk a little bit about stretching and strengthening our core. It's kind of geared towards seniors, but it really is for everybody. So we're going to talk about the importance of stretching, because we know when we were young and we had our PE class, what did we do? We always stretched before we did stuff, right? They always told us, stretch before you run, stretch before you swim, stretch before you do this, before you do that. And what happens when we get older and older? Well, we just kind of forget about stretching and we just don't stretch anymore. So stretching is very important no matter what age you are. But I think especially the older you get, because as I say, and you're going to hear me say it, you use it or you lose it. So let's get into this conversation. Here we go. You are a licensed massage therapist. You are a medical massage practitioner. You've had your own practice for over 20 years. What I wanted to find out from you today is about this stretching for seniors. But it's not necessarily just for seniors, but I just thought, the stretching for seniors is something that's probably very, very important. And when I think of seniors, I'm thinking, you're 70 plus. Actually, in my head, it's 80 plus because, gosh, people who are 70, they are still on the go. And same with 80. But it seems like right around that 82 mark, people start to slow down. So if you wouldn't mind, if we kind of talk about, the stretching for seniors, find out a little bit about yourself and why stretching is important to our bodies and maybe even to our minds and everything.
Absolutely. Oh,
All
yes.
right.
All right. I love talking about this because you're right. Stretching is so important. A lot of exercise and movement, absolutely. But sometimes people overwork themselves and then they get so tight that their muscle pulls on the attachment. Now, somebody said to me, "What are you talking about when you say attachment?" Think about it. Our muscles attached to tendons or ligaments, depending on where they are, and it pulls where it is. That's how you get herniated, bulging, deteriorating, because that tight muscle pulls on all your body parts, on your bones that it's not supposed to. So
Mm,
if you stretch it properly, then you pull those muscle fibers back out. And, my mom is now just turned 86 and she's been stretching for years. I mean, I took my first class in 2003, mind blown. Because I started this, I graduated in 1999 from massage school. Loved it. I originally thought I wanted to be a nurse, but I was leaving an abusive relationship and it just didn't, it was too much schooling at the time because I have two children. So I'm like, what am I going to do? I want to help people. My sister suggested massage therapy and I was off. There happened to be one near my house. It was a ma and pa shop. These really nice older people. They've been running the school for a long time and they worked with me with the, payments as I went. So I learned so much. And since 99, I'm massaging my mom. But in 2003, I was really broken because
mm,
let me tell you, doing massage is hard work. So I was getting migraines. I had the fire between my shoulder blades, which a lot of people, if they work at a desk or they're sitting reading or they're on their phones, we all got that syndrome. So between my shoulder blades from doing this and my lower back was on fire, and I felt that the sciatica was happening. So I said, "My gosh, I'm only 3 years into this, and I really like this work. What am I going to do?" So luckily, this guy kept sending me this pamphlet, "Work Smarter, Not Harder," and how this therapy can take care of so many things. I said, "Bull dinkies. There's no way one therapy can take care of hammer toes, migraines, headaches, bunions, plantar fasciitis, you name it, even scoliosis." I was like, "No way." But I needed continuing education anyway. The class was in Boston. I said to my fiance at the time, "Let's take a trip." So it was a weekend class. Blew my mind. What he was doing
Hmm.
to these people just was so amazing, and they loved it. He was like throwing them around on the table and pulling and tugging. And I said, "There's no way I'm ever going to do that." Well, never say never, right? And so I came home and I started using these on my neck, because that's what the problem was, is that the muscles in my neck were so tight, it was stopping the blood flow to my brain, and that's how migraines or headaches happen.
Mm.
So I have to admit, when I first started doing these stretches, I didn't like them. I was like, "Ooh, I really feel this." And I almost stopped, except I thought about it and I said, "Okay, you know the concept. What you're doing is real. You're already in pain. Your muscles are already tight. So what you're doing is uncomfortable. Okay, I'll keep up with this." And I did. And my migraines went, my neck started feeling better. Migraines went away. Now I don't even wake up with a headache. If I do, it's sinus. And when I wake up, it all drains. So it's amazing. So I'm like, okay, this is good. Took the class again in 2005. And when I came back, I had already been established. So my clients knew me, and I said, "Do you mind?" So I opened the book and went to work, and they loved it. They loved it,
Wow.
because as massage therapists, we're taught, get in there, elbow, get into that point. But if you think about it, if you have a really tight muscle, is digging the middle of it going to open it up? No. Is
No.
a pill gonna open that up? No. Is holding a stretch? You take this really tight muscle and you hold that stretch. Is that gonna open up the whole muscle? No, because that's what you got. You hold it for 20, 30. We're taught to hold it as long as you can. And all you're doing is taxing that muscle.
Mm.
The magic is doing reps. What?
Yeah, it's what?
What? We're not taught that. But holding that stretch, breathing out, shh, coming out, going back in, shh. Now you do about 5 to 7 reps to begin with, and then you shake it out. Make nice. You always make nice with a muscle. Whenever you're going to do something, you make nice. Then you come back, and this is where the magic happens. This is what blows my mind, is you come back for that second set and that muscle says, "Oh, okay, this is what we're doing." So you do another set. Shh, shh. And then the fibers come apart. The miracles that I have witnessed over the years of increased range of motion on my mother, too. It's just, here she's 86 years young.
Wow.
Yes, and she's featured in my book, and it's just amazing how this really really works.
So I think oftentimes with muscle and anything else is you use it or lose it. Is that kind of how the muscle might work? If you're not using it, it may uh, constrict, if that's the right word, or it just tightens up. And then when you go to use it, it says, "Oh, ah, you haven't used me in a long time. I can't stretch that far." Hence that word stretch. can I think of it that way? Is that how things can happen sometimes?
If you're not using it, your muscles are atrophied. So that
Mm.
means they're losing their strength. The way that it gets over tight is repetitive use. So,
Ah,
if you got that person that just keeps doing the same thing over and over, that's where you like even carpal tunnel for holding the mouse and everything else. That's where you get the really tight pulling. The person who's not doing anything, their muscles are weak. So that's why they feel it because their muscles are
okay.
you haven't used them enough. I mean, just going out for a walk is wonderful. It's good for your mind, your body, everything. And that will build up your muscles. So you want to make them strong. But there is a thing of overdoing. There are people that over exercise. You don't need to do all that. You don't need more weights. You don't need to do 100. When I have people doing their oh, not crunches, but when they go down. Oh, I don't know why that word's not coming to me, but like when you do the
Like squats and
squats,
stuff like
yeah.
that?
I'm not a fan of squats. I think that
Oh.
no, I think that's very hard on your knee joints.
Mm.
I mean, for me, in my book, you can if you say you can. It features my mom, and it has a great workout. I work out from my bed. I'm all for working out, but I don't want it to hinder my bank book or my time. So, like I've done a gym already, and it's okay. And working out on those things, you want to. Oh, I'm gonna up the weight. I'm gonna up the weight. Well, I add weights to my wrists and to my ankles after I've done it for a while. I'm not starting with weights. So I do crunches, but I do them on my bed where you're just lifting your head up. Not this kind of crunch where you're going to hurt your neck, but this,
Right.
where you're
So
looking
I
at the
want to mention
ceiling.
something real quick because for the ones who are listening and they didn't see what you're doing,
Oh,
it's like you were saying that you don't do the crunches where you're grabbing behind your head and you're pulling your head
right.
forward with your hands, which
No.
is bad for your neck and your body. So
Exactly.
you're not pulling your head forward.
No, I'm just placing my hands over my head, one hand on top of the other, looking at the ceiling, pulling the whole top of my body up. When I do that with my clients, they're like, oh my goodness, best ab workout and neck workout that you're going to get. Because if you do weights outside your body, that is too detrimental to your deltoids and your upper
Mm.
trap. So if you're just doing the put your one hand on top of the other, pull your whole body up, that is working all your neck muscles and your pecs and your the top of your traps. And your abs. Oh, now tight core. Let's face it. That's what we all strive for.
Oh, yes, that helps a lot with a lot of things in your body. Having that tight core in the front
Yeah.
will help with that back problem in the back too.
Yes, and another thing that I do that helps my bum, my glutes, and my lower back feel better is leg lifts. Right from my bed. Because it cradles you nicely. So if you're on the floor, it hurts when you're doing on the floor because your bones are like right into the floor. I don't like that. And even if you have a little mat, it's still not good enough. The bed, it just cradles you so nicely. It's comfortable. It's convenient. It takes 10 minutes to do my workout. I do crunches, leg lifts with my feet together, my feet apart, like a shoulder length apart, and then my heels together. So I get all the areas of my legs, the outers, the inners, the upper, the hamstrings, all of it. And it makes my lower back and my glutes so much stronger.
Mm. Now, I want to mention to folks because, like you said, you have your book. You can if you say you can. You also have an accompanying DVD that people can purchase as well. That's going to walk them through these steps, right?
Oh my gosh, the DVD is wonderful. I did my teachers, which was about an hour and a half. And I mean, I felt wonderful afterwards, but it was too much. It's too comprehensive. I took the necessary muscles, and I narrowed it down. So it's under an hour. You stretch your whole body from head to toe. And I'm outside in a park, with the fountain in the background. And it helps you to breathe properly and do them all properly. Like I said, from head to toe, you get your neck, your arms, your forearms, your fingers. If people say they don't have enough time for it, then just bypass the fingers. And then it's like 40 minutes to stretch your whole body. What I suggest to my clients is you do the video and you learn
Mm-hmm.
which ones really are tight, because once you do the whole video, you're going to go, oh, I didn't know that. Whoa, I really feel that. The ones that you feel at like a 9 or a 10 on that scale, those are the ones that you do nightly. And if you do them at night before you go to bed, you start the healing process. Now, a lot of people
Mm.
wake up stiff and they feel like they have to stretch in the morning. Kind of counterproductive. I want to wake up feeling great. So, when you sleep is when your body heals itself. So, when you do these
Yes.
stretches right before you go to bed, you feel good getting into bed, not stiff and thinking about everything you did. And so, when you get into that bed and after you've stretched, you're warmer, your muscles are warmed up, but it's not like exercise. It's not like you're going to
Okay.
be all energetic. You're going to just feel good. Then you take that breath in, that cleansing breath you do, where you fill up your belly and you just take it all in, the good, and then you release all the the stuff from the day. And then once you drop your head, your neck, your shoulders, everything into the bed, I now cleanse everybody that's listening from all the stuff that they didn't do today, that all that stuff that they have to do tomorrow, because let's face it, all that stuff doesn't matter right now. What matters is that you get a good night's sleep so that you wake up refreshed, and then you can deal with all the stuff the next day. It's
That
much
is
better.
right. Yeah, absolutely right. Now, we know exercise and stretching and fitness is really important for everyone, but the stretching for seniors, how can I say this? How much more important is it for seniors to learn to properly stretch, like you're talking about?
It's 100% important because, I mean, right now I have a client who's 88 years old, or
Mhm.
88 years young, and he's still very active. Now, he's been coming to me for years, and he's come like every so often. But now he's coming on a weekly basis because I stretch him like a pretzel, and he loves it. I'm taking his leg and I'm pulling it over, and I'm taking it up and in. I'm stretching a muscle called your piriformis, which is literally a pain in the butt because that's where it's
Mhm.
located. The piriformis is responsible for about 85% of our lower back pain, and it's a deep muscle. It's hard to palpate. Therapists really can't get in there. There's not much you can do except stretch it out on a regular basis. So when you don't stretch, your muscles are going to continue to constrict and get tighter and pull on those attachments, like I said in the beginning, and then you start losing balance, and that could make somebody very old. If you want to keep
Yes.
going, the idea is to keep those muscles limber. And the more that you stretch them out, it brings them back to life. It lets the blood flow. It helps any impinging nerve endings. You get more nutrients in your muscles when the blood is flowing properly. You keep your range of motion, because the less range of motion you have, the less you can do. So
Mhm.
my mother proved it, because during the winter, she admits she got a little lazy, because normally she stretches every night. And whenever my sister goes away with her, she's like, Di, I'm so impressed with mom. She takes that rope and she has her leg up and she's pulling it all over the place. So I'm like, yes, mom. But over the winter, she got a little lazy, and she was, it wasn't nice out. She wasn't going to go out for her park walk and sit with her friends in the park. So she sat and watched TV. And she did this for a little while. And I didn't know she was doing this, but all of a sudden she woke up one morning with a pain in her calf muscle. And I was confused. I was like, what is this? And so I came over and I was like, oh, Mom, what are you doing? You feel this knot here? And I was massaging her. And she goes, oh, yeah, I feel that. So I said, okay, you have to stretch today. So muscles have memory. You have to remember this. When they're feeling bad, they take a little while to feel better. But when they're feeling good, you can, they remember feeling good, but it takes a little while because just like anything else, like when you go on a live it, I don't call them diets because you're going to live it longer, so I call them live its. So like when you go on a live it, you have to wait a little, like you just have to keep doing the good things in order for your body to respond. Well, same thing with
Yeah.
stretching. You get instant relief because it feels wonderful, but in order for it to have lasting effect, you got to keep doing it, just like any good thing for your body, eating right, sleeping right, all of that. So is stretching. So she woke up the next morning and she was still in pain. My brother was all worried because my clients and everybody knows what I'm capable of and how much teaching I have. But family, there's so family members that they just don't listen. There's not everybody's going to listen to me, and my brother's one of them, so I accept that. So he said, Di, take Mom to the hospital because she has this pain in her leg. We don't want it to be a blood clot, DVT. Okay, go to the hospital, spend 6 hours there. They come in, they take her for all these tests. Oh, all right, yeah, all right. We had the all EKG. We did all the tests. This is a muscle spasm. I'm like, I know. I knew that, but we made sure, just careful, and they wanted to give her a Tylenol. She's like, I don't need a Tylenol, thank you. And they said, all right, we're going to give you prescriptions. And it's unfortunate. Now, don't get me wrong, I love doctors, I appreciate all they do for us, but they really don't know how to handle muscular pain. They've been taught
Hmm.
all the different medications, and unfortunately a lot of them are opioids. And so too many
Yeah.
get addicted to opioids because they had a pain that they just couldn't get rid of. I mean, even Good Morning America did a segment yesterday on chronic pain and how to recognize it, and that it can cause depression and so much more. Chronic pain is debilitating. And so they were ready to send her home, but they said, we can't send you home unless you can walk. They did nothing to help her walk. But luckily, I was there. I massaged her. I got her up and walking. And, she looked at me and, I love you. I said, I know, now stretch every day, darn it. But
Well,
it's true.
yeah. I'm glad you're saying these things, especially where uh, with the fact that you need to do this on a regular
Yeah.
basis. This is so important. I did not want to lose it. So, as you're saying, something, especially using it and doing these exercises or stretching on a regular basis, especially for seniors, because and like you said, it helps with your balance. And I hear oftentimes seniors fall. They're
Yes.
falling, and that's because they're weak. They haven't used their muscle,
Yes.
but they fall. And nobody tells them or asks them about, are you exercising? Are you stretching? They go right to something else.
Yeah.
And like I said, they give you a pill or they take you in for x-ray and things like that. So I'm
Yes.
glad you have mentioned those
It's
things.
so true. I mean, movement, you have to
Yeah.
move. You have to move. It is it's not a diagnosis, but not moving shuts down your body. There's no two ways about it. It absolutely does. Inflammation sneaks in, and like I said, atrophy, and then before you know it, you lose because there's no blood flow to your brain. It starts shutting off. Henceforth, dementia, and all those horrible brain problems, which affect our whole body. It's body,
Yeah.
brain and body connection.
It's it is so important. And again, at the very beginning, I had mentioned and asked you, can we talk more along the lines of seniors? But this is something for everyone about stretching. And, it's it's not a difficult thing to do.
It's not. It's
And
really not. And then
yeah.
once you know how to do the stretches, I mean, most of them people know. Like for carpal tunnel, everybody will lock their elbow and pull back their fingers. But to do that as reps, you do about,
Mm.
like I said, 5 to 7. Shake it out, make nice, always make nice, and then come back and do another set of 10. And if that's really bothering you, do a set of 30. The more the merrier. A lot of people are afraid they're going to get hurt, but instead it's the opposite. You're letting that muscle know you're becoming in charge of your body. I love taking charge of my body, my muscles. I'm human. So sometimes things hurt me and I'm like, oh, you forgot to stretch that. So, I'm running up and down stairs all day. So sometimes I forget to stretch my calf muscles on the stair, and it lets me know, like I'll feel it in my foot, or a lot of times plantar fasciitis, people don't know that comes from your calf muscle. Most of the time where you feel your pain is not where it's coming from. Where it's coming from is that belly of that muscle that's pulling at the attachment. So that's
Mm.
why stretching it is the key, because like a lot of people massage where they're feeling that pain, or they put ice where they're feeling that pain, and that's not where it's coming from. So you're not getting to the root of the problem. Oh, and by the way, don't put heat. I took a
Oh.
class from Harold Packman, and a lot of people are ice heat. What do I do? Ice heat. And the way that it was explained to me by Harold Packman, who was a wonderful man, who I took a chirotherapy class, is that if it's already inflamed and irritated, heat, when you put it on, especially a heating pad, feels good while you're doing that. I'll give you that. Heat feels good, it's soothing, it's nice. Everybody thinks they're opening their muscles. But what you're doing is putting flames on a fire. I said, oh, that is true. So if you have inflammation, you want to bring down that inflammation. So always an ice bag. I have an 11 by 14. It's wonderful. So you cover all the bases. When my neck was really bad, I took that 11 by 14 and I rolled it up in a towel and I went to bed with it every night. It was my best friend, because when you need to bring down that inflammation at the end of the day, it really is very, very helpful. And seniors, they have to move. I mean, if you like music, put on music every day and dance a little bit. Even if you're just strutting your stuff a little bit, move. Find a way. Even if you're just moving in your house. I'm going to walk back and forth my whole house 10 times. It's something. The more you move, the more blood activity you get, the better you feel. The sharper you're going to be in your brain. Because that's using it
Mhm.
too. You have to think about moving your feet and moving your hands, and it's very good for you.
But something that popped into my head just now is during the holiday season or Mother's Day, Father's Day, whatever. We're always trying to figure out what do I get my mom and dad, because they've lived this life and they've had everything. Well, here's a thought. You can buy them um, a little massage therapy session or something like that, a stretching session, which would be great. Or, of course, they can always go to your website, getthenaught.org, right? And
Yes,
get a book or get a DVD. In
absolutely.
fact, you could make this thing where it's not a family affair, family fun thing, but maybe stretch with your mom, stretch with your dad, or something like that. Because it's not going to be beneficial just for them, it's going to be beneficial for you as well.
Love that idea. That's an amazing idea, because especially, you get the DVD, getthenotsout.org, and you get the DVD, and if you do it together, then like you said, you're helping both of you, and this way you both can, and this way you're going to do it. You hold yourself accountable. That's why a lot of people say, that's why I like a gym, because I got to hold myself accountable. Well, if you say you're going to do it, if you say you can, you can. If you say you're going to work out, you're going to work out. But if you do this DVD together, it's a great activity. And you can have fun with it, and oh my god, you feel that? Wow, look at your range of motion. Wow, look at you go. And then as you do it, to see the increased range of motion as you do it and as you go, my gosh, the miracles that I've witnessed, that I've been so blessed to witness over the years. I had an office where I did a stretch class, and I had this lady, Maxine, who came in on a regular basis, and she had shoulder surgery. So she could barely move her arm back, like every time she was going to, I mean, she came and she did it. But every time she went to do it, she made this funny face, like it was really hurting her. And before you know it, I don't even, it was at least a couple of months, because it does take a little while, like I said, to increase your range of motion and whatnot. But after a couple of months of her doing it, she was swinging. It was just her and I. Nobody had come else to the class. And she's swinging her arm back and up, and it's going up to the air, and it's feeling good. And I said, Maxine, she's telling me how her daughter's going to come with the kids, and she's not even thinking about what she's doing. And I said, Maxine, look at your arm. It blew her mind. She just could not believe she had that much range of motion.
Wow.
And in myself included, since I've been in grammar school, I remember the teacher yelling at me saying, because we were stretching for our hamstrings, I mean, stretching for our toes, and my hamstring felt like it was going to break. So I've always had tight hamstrings. And I remember her yelling at me, put your knee down, you're cheating. I was like, oh no, I'm cheating, oh no. But once I started doing these and I was able to touch my toe, I was like, yes, look, I'm able to do that. I've never been able to touch my toe. And now because I've been stretching since 2003. So, now I reach down, I pull them, I can feel it. I feel it in my back, like I feel it everywhere I'm supposed to feel it. And my range of motion is just off the charts. And I'm 60 years old now. So I love it.
Well, one of the last things I want to say about this is not, well, how do I want to put this? You can do this anywhere at any time, because oftentimes if you say, well, I travel a lot, I don't get a chance to go to the gym. This does not need a gym. That's number one. Number two is, if you live in a area where the climate is often cold or chilly, well, you don't have to do this outside either. So
Nope.
there is really no excuse not to do it.
I love that. You're right. Absolutely. That's why I do it in my bedroom just before I'm going to bed. I take at least 15 to 20 minutes for myself, because I'm worth it. And I know I need it. I work hard. What my job is repetitive use. So I know how to take care of me, and I do it, because if I don't take care of me, then how am I going to take care of everything else around me? You may be doing it now, and if you're older, you may have done it, and now your body is yelling at you. So this is the way to answer that yell gently. Listen to your
Yep.
body. Do it on a regular basis. You deserve it. You need it. This is something, like you said, you can do anytime, anywhere.
There it is. You've got to make sure that it's, well, I was gonna say you got to make sure you're worth it, but you know what? You are worth it. We're
Everybody's
all
worth
worth it.
it. We are
Yeah, that's
human
right.
beings and spiritual beings, and we are worth taking care of ourselves, because
That is so true.
eventually it's going to catch up. And
Yeah.
then if you're it, you go to the doctor and you go down that medical hole for your muscular pain. That's a whole other monster. This is
Yeah.
a tried and true. Actually, this therapy has been in our country for over 60 years. But unfortunately, unless you're lucky enough to have stumbled over it like I did, you don't know about it. So I'm here that's why I'm here telling everybody there's a real tried and true natural solution for muscular pain. It's easy, only takes 10, minutes a day. GetTheKnotsOut.org. You're worth it.
Diane Cherico. That's Cherico, not Jericho.
Right.
Cherico.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to this episode, and I hope you got something out of this, because I know I did. I learned several new things, but more importantly, I really want to make this a regular habit. a habit of stretching before I go to bed, stretching when I wake up, stretching before I do any physical activity. Because as we heard, it is easy to do, does not take much time, and it definitely does not take any equipment or a gym. So thanks again for listening, and thanks for staying tuned all the way to the end of the podcast. And if you wouldn't mind doing me a favor, please like, share, and rate the podcast. Be gentle and be kind about rating. I would also like to say thank you very much for your support. It really helps the channel when you share, like, and, monetize the channel. It's That's a hard thing to say and ask for, but, sometimes you just have to ask for things. So again, thank you very much for your support, no matter what you do, and please continue to listen. And until next time, remember, keep stretching and reach for the stars. Bye-bye.